Well, everybody, I am so excited. I've been talking about doing some guest interviews on our Hustle with Heart podcast, and I am really, really thrilled to bring to you today's guest. So let me tell you a little bit about her, and then we're just going to dig right in because she has so much to share with us as God-centered entrepreneurs on our Hustle with Heart journey. So this is Dr. Sherri Yoder. Dr. Sherri is the host of the podcast Thriving Thoughts with Dr. Sherri, and she is all about championing women to thrive in their thoughts, in their life, in every circumstance.
Yes.
She is so good at helping us understand that when our minds are equipped with love and discipline, and transformed truth to live a life that thrives, that we can do anything.
Yes.
So, Dr. Sherri, welcome to Hustle with Heart.
Hey. Thank you for having me, Erin.
I'm so excited that you're here. Okay, so
Me too.
We're going to dig right in, and I would love for you to just give us a snapshot of, like, how did you come to Thriving Thoughts? What was sort of your journey, your Hustle with Heart journey to where you are? And then we're going to dig into, what do you mean by little lies and big truths?
Yeah. Well, okay. So here's where I'm going to start with that, because it starts with a message that you gave, I think, on your last podcast episode, Purging and Pruning. You were talking about the difference between purging and pruning. And I got to tell you, when I started this journey towards entrepreneurship, I started in the traditional path to become a clinical psychologist, did the whole grad school thing, did the residency thing, got my licensure, set up my, own shop. And I was very, very quickly disenfranchised because God was doing some purging and pruning in my life. And he knew that I needed to be exposed to a variety of things that did not sit well with my spirit. And the first one of those things was this kind of a diagnostic focus of the field of mental health, and focusing on what the problems are, and focusing on, having people call and say, do you treat bipolar disorder? And I'm like, wait a second, this is not right. Like, no, I'm working with people. Like, I want to talk with you. I want to get to know you. You are not bipolar disorder. You are not depression. You are not anxiety, right? But so the field has perpetuated this kind of formation of our identity based on our diagnosis. And the thing about diagnoses is that they're not objective, they're subjective. And I could diagnose myself and you and anybody else with anything pretty much anytime I wanted to, because that's how it's designed. I mean, there's even bucket diagnoses. In case you can't figure out another one, here, let's give you a bucket one. And that way you can bill insurance. So a lot of that did not sit well with me, Erin. And God, you know how Zephaniah tells us that God sings over us at night. I think God also whispers to us at night, and whispers some serious truths to us to protect us, to prune, to purge, to protect us from going down a path that would not be beneficial to us as his daughters, as his sons, as his children. That would prevent us from fulfilling our purpose. So anyway, I really started struggling, Erin, with diagnosing people. I started struggling with submitting a diagnosis to a third-party insurance panel just to get paid for the time that I spent with this person. I started to struggle with the fact that here we are behind four walls and closed doors, and this is just perpetuating this myth that there is something wrong with people, and there is not something wrong. And so God began to place a desire in me to share the message of normalcy, of the common threads of humanity, of the common threads of his designed creation, including things like anxiety and depression and relationship conflict and just daily struggles that we all face, but a lot of us don't talk about. And you certainly don't go see a shrink, because then there's something wrong with you.
Yes.
So my desire was to take this message that you have the ability to focus on the beautiful person, the beautiful creature that God created you to be, and use that to an advantage to have a fulfilling life. And I wanted to take that message to people that wouldn't come see me in my little tiny therapy office, and So I went and I deleted the beginning of the business part of it. I deleted my participation. Deleted, that's such a computer word. I discontinued my participation with all insurance panels in 2016, the beginning of 2016. And as you can imagine, business, quote unquote, tanked.
Mm.
Okay. Because no longer did people have to pay $5 to $25 copays. People were paying $150 to $200 for an hour out of their pockets to come see me.
Right.
And then they still wanted me to give them an invoice with a diagnostic code to submit for reimbursement, which I said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to give you something that is, maybe we can call it that for right now, but that's not who you are. It's not helpful to you. I want to help you understand who you are so that you can be happy and fulfilled and live the abundant life that was promised to you. I mean, this is not rocket science, you know. And I don't mean that in a pejorative sense. I don't mean that in a condescending way, Erin. I just mean, like, why are we so focused on everything that's wrong and everything that's negative? And I mean, just look at it everywhere on social media and the news. It's all like, well, this is what's wrong with people, and this is why people are the way they are. I'm like, no, there is nothing wrong with us. We were created perfectly. We were created in God's image, right? There is nothing wrong with God. God is perfect. And if we're created in his image, let's focus on that. So anyway, I went and I started doing speaking engagements for free and stuff like that. And eventually stopped using my clinical psych license altogether. And now I do podcast hosting, some coaching, and some speaking. And it's all about thriving thoughts, which I can dive into in a moment, but I just gave you a lot there. So let me see where you want to go with that.
No, I love it, because what's so fascinating is you were on this trajectory, this path that you thought you were supposed to be on. You'd gotten the degree, all the degrees, I'm sure, multiple, and you're going down this road, and God is, I love what you said, like, he sings over us, he whispers to us,
yeah.
And he's whispering to you going, I and maybe this is my characterization, but kind of saying, you know, Sherri, you're going down this road, but here's what you need to understand about my creation that you're serving.
Yes.
So I'm going to shift you this way. And I think as entrepreneurs, that's what happens to us very often on this hustle with heart journey, is we're sort of going one way, and maybe we've always had a relationship with Christ, or maybe we've just encountered him, and suddenly it shifts us and we're sort of like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That doesn't look the way I thought it was going to look. But wait, God is telling me to go this way.
Yeah.
So before we get into the thriving thoughts piece, how did you deal with that shift in leaning so heavily on your trust and faith that, like, this is God's and he's going to provide?
Well, that's where be deliberate, look reckless came from. I was being deliberate.
Talk about that.
Yeah. I was being deliberate in following this. It's not just a belief. It's a driving force within me that I cannot turn away from. And I believe that God placed it in me. So when I closed my practice and started doing the speaking and especially then when I started doing podcast hosting, which, you know, doesn't make any money. That's not why you go into podcasting, for sure. But I had a lot of people in my life, Erin, people that meant well, people that loved me, people that cared for me, that, you know, kind of shook me on the shoulders and said, are you sure, Sherri? Are you sure this is this is not safe? This is not safe. This is not, you know, and truthfully, it is not safe from the world's perspective. It is like jumping off of a cliff, but I'm telling you, it is so much fun that I would retake every single risk that I have taken. I would re-accept and reimagine with celebration every sacrifice I've made to continue on this path. And there are going to be many more. But I had to be deliberate in doing what I believed God created me to do, which was to carry this message of truth, that you are a beautiful, priceless creation. And there is something so great and purposeful about you, that why you are here for a reason. And let's stop trying to figure out what's wrong with us, and let's go and figure out what's right with us so that we can serve other people, so that that's where fulfillment comes from, being the hands and feet of Jesus.
Yes.
So, yeah, so I that's where I came up with the phrase of be deliberate, look reckless, because it looks reckless to the world. I went from 6 employees to none. But here's the beauty of that. I distinctly recall before I had employees and I was doing all of this stuff. I was doing the billing, I was doing the therapy, I was doing the scheduling, I was doing everything on my own, cleaning the office, everything. And I remember one day I was leaving the office and I walked across the parking lot. My head was hanging low. And I was like, God, how long am I going to have to do this on my own? Well, very soon, fast forward, I had 6 employees, 6. Erin, I remember walking across the parking lot one day, leaving that office. My head hung low. Dear Lord, how am I going to make payroll this week? Right? It's not, you see, God takes us on a journey, and you never arrive. You never arrive at a place of comfort, because comfort leads to complacency, and your purpose cannot be walked out in complacency. It has to be walked out in discomfort, in distress. Our faith grows. Our faith thrives in discomfort, period. I mean, Jesus said, will you take this cup from me? Talk about discomfort,
right?
Yeah. But the salvation of all mankind happened through that discomfort, and we are called to walk in that discomfort as well. And so anyway, it went from that, and then I got rid of the insurance, got rid of all the employees, and then it was like, oh man, I got like no income coming in. Now I'm going to have to give up my office, which I did. I mean, I gave up a lot of stuff. There were days, Erin, and I will be 100% transparent, when I was like, God, I fear I'd be like 45 days behind on my car payment. God, my car is going to get repossessed. I mean, I remember those fears. And so throughout all of this, one of the messages that God taught me was, if everything that we believe and we think and we're convinced of matters to us, or which is essentially everything we have, right? If everything that we have is stripped from us, what do we have left? We have left our minds. We have left our hearts. We have left our souls. That is it. That is what we have. And if we do not focus on that, if we do not focus on developing that and making it flourish and watering it and making it thrive, the rest of this stuff does not matter. None of it can matter, because anything can be taken away from you in an instant, even if it wasn't your choice. You see, it was my choice, right? And people say, well, you did this to yourself. Yeah, I did, but I'm good with that, because through that process, God has drugged me through, at kicking and screaming at times, but drugged me through these moments where I was able, over the last 2 years specifically, Erin, to hone in, sharpen, peel back the layers of distraction, and focus on this message of having a thriving thought world. And when I say thriving thought world, I mean a thought world that learns and grows in all pain, in all joy, in all discomfort, in all fear, in all angst. It grows and thrives in every situation, such that your trust becomes so powerful that none of this stuff that the Bible refers to as trappings, it doesn't matter. And I am always, have always, and will always be provided for.
Yes. Preach it. I love it.
Yeah, girl, I'm like, my heart rate's going up, because I'm like,
well, it's so funny. So we're recording this on the day that my daily dose focused on Romans 5:3, which echoes which James also echoes, which is rejoicing in the trials and the challenges. And that's exactly what you're saying, is to thrive in the joy and in the challenge, and in the pain. And I think so often we're afraid to. We don't think we can thrive in that, because we're afraid to, or what have you. And I just, so good. Thank you for sharing that. So talk to us about let's open up the thriving thoughts and what
Yeah.
does it mean? What's the meaning behind, the little lies and big truths?
Yeah. So, man, here's the most beautiful thing. When you let go of of your shoulds, when you let go of what you thought you should be, when you let go, I'm going to cry a little bit here. When you let go of what you believe your life should look like, and you let go of your expectations and your hopes and your dreams, when you let go of that and you say, God, you put me here for a reason. You've given me gifts. I'm unique. I'm amazing. I've been set here for a purpose. So use me. Man, get ready to thrive, because he's going to strip a lot of stuff away. He's going to prune and purge. And that is a beautiful thing. And that's what it looks like to thrive. It looks like being open to suffering. It looks like being open to pain, because God knows the way that he created me is that I'm a learner and I'm a thinker.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that he fulfills me, gives me life abundantly, is he gives me ideas and thoughts. And then he says, go share them, go share them, go share them. This is going to help somebody. And so with everything that I go through, instead of fighting and swatting at it and saying, please take this cup from me, please take it away, make it go away, make it all better. My prayer that I have started praying in the face of everything, especially when my hopes and dreams and desires are stirred up and I want to cling so tightly to them, my prayer is restore or remove. Restore or remove. And when God gives you the confidence to pray restore or remove, you are ready. You're not afraid of the removal, and you're not surprised at the restoration. You are ready for either one, because he's placed that confident desire in your heart that is the prayer you're supposed to pray. And there it is. And my most recent removal, Erin, was a 5-year relationship with my boyfriend, who I thought was my forever. And it came to a place where I began praying, God, restore or remove. And he, in his abundant mercy and grace and love for me, rescued me and said, okay, I'll remove. That's where that's what it means to thrive. That's what it means. It means to completely surrender and say, fill my thoughts with the purposes and plans you have for me, and let me trust in that 100%. Let me walk into the next right thing right now, not focusing on tomorrow, not focusing on the past, just walking in that confidence. And that's, if we can get that, if we can get that, those things that we wanted so badly, if they're removed, they are our protections. They are our graces. They are our gifts. Man, if we get that, we would be so fulfilled and happy.
And you are speaking to me today, girl, because this is something that I've been struggling with in my walk really over the last, I would say, 10 days. And, what I feel I keep praying to be removed. Maybe I now need to say restore or remove, because he's not removing it.
Right. Right.
And I think we get so caught up in what it has to look like, and what those boundaries are, and what is our definition of what success is. This is his.
Right.
And we put it in a box. And when we put it in that box, like, God is limitless, but we limit what he can do through us when we try to draw the box around it that says it looks like this relationship and this kind of business and this kind of success. And he's going, but what I have is so much bigger.
Yeah.
And yet you want to keep it in a box. So, okay.
Right.
I'll give you what you have asked.
I'll give you what you want. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But eventually you're led to a place, as long as here's the thing, we really don't have a whole lot to do with it.
Yeah.
You can grow as far away or as close to God as you want. It doesn't matter, because the power of the Holy Spirit is so strong that when it's time and your heart is right, he will pierce it and he will say, here is the direction.
Exactly.
Period. Right. So, it's not about doing the right things. It's not about praying every day for 20 minutes and reading the Bible and doing it. It is not about that. It is about you understanding that if you can just grasp this belief that God created you on purpose for a purpose and the world needs you, that's why you're still here.
Yep.
If you get nothing else but that, then he will speak to you in his perfect timing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Out of a mustard seed of faith.
Yes.
A mustard seed.
Yes. Yes. And how gracious.
And how gracious. I mean, yeah, it's beautiful. It's like, I always think about like the discipline of a parent to a child,
right.
You know, don't go play on the ice, honey. You'll fall and get hurt. They go fall and they get hurt. You know, mom or dad, they don't say, I told you so. Well, you know, dust yourself off. Right. They say, come here, honey. I love you. It's okay. We just got to be careful. You know, let's maybe rethink that next time.
Yeah.
But they don't stop loving us.
Right.
They don't say, well, you want it that way? Have at it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the beauty. So don't worry about screwing up.
Right.
Because you're going to.
Yes.
We are still going to screw up. That's our human nature. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
God's going to be there to rescue you.
Yeah. And
That's
he's going to redirect, and he's there to purge and prune. He's there to discipline. Like that. Yeah. That is the whole point.
Yeah. And it's so funny. I was talking with a friend about this the other day, and we were joking. And I was like, you remember that song, Hurt So Good?
Yeah.
Yeah, hurt so good. Come on, baby. Yeah, so I'm like, that's exactly God's discipline. It hurts so good. Like, you know, his 100%. Guidance, it's hilarious.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Oh, love that. What are the little lies that we allow, and how do we replace them with the big truth?
Whew. Man, that is an ongoing process. You know, if we just go back to the very basic thing that I said about being created on purpose for a purpose and the world needing you, those are truths, right? God's word tells us that. Yeah. That's an undeniable truth. But very often, particularly as women, we invite the little lies into our minds that say, what I have to offer doesn't matter. People don't need me today. Those are the little lies. But here's what happens. If we're not careful to speak the truth to those little lies, they become big truths. And we really start to believe them. We start to believe I do not matter. Depression sets in. We start to believe, why would I do anything anymore? Because it doesn't seem like anything I do is producing any fruit, which the fruit is the very last thing that is ever produced in the harvest, period. Takes a long time to get to the fruit. We say then that if this is not happening, then I'm going to back off. I'm going to not do. And then guess who wins? The enemy wins. Aha, I've blocked her from her purpose, right? Yeah. So the little lies that we believe in our minds immediately dictate how we feel, what we think, and what we do. Yes. And if we can learn to speak truth, you see, if I can wake up in the morning, Erin, and look in the mirror and say, I am necessary. People need me. Oh man, I've got so many beautiful things to offer the world. If I can look at myself and say that in the name of Jesus, not in the name of me, right? With that foundation, if I can look in the mirror and say that to myself, you better believe I am going to walk into every meeting with confidence. I'm going to look and see opportunities that I would not have otherwise seen to grow my business. I'm going to be open to new ideas. I mean, our thought world, what happens up here reflects like a body of water in the sky, or the sky in a body of water. That is our thoughts and our realities. Mm-hmm. They mirror one another. So if our realities right now are miserable, are depressing, are filled with angst, relationship conflict, if that's what our realities are like right now, we need to take a step back and say, what's happening up here? Right. What's happening up here? What am I believing about myself? What are the lies that I'm believing about myself? What are the lies I'm believing about other people? Because see, here's the one truth, that every single person that's ever been created, including your enemy, was made on purpose for a purpose, and the world needs them, was loved enough by Christ to die, is imperfect and loved. Every single person, including your direct competitor, is imperfect and loved, including you.
Right.
That is truth. So just think about how that impacts you. Then what right do I have to be angry? I'm not better than them. I'm imperfect and loved. What right do I have to look down on them? What right do I have to manage them? Tell them what they should or shouldn't do? I mean, that's where conflict comes from, right? When we think that somehow we're special or somebody else is more special than us.
Yes.
There is nobody more special than you. God broke the mold when he made you.
Absolutely.
There's nobody more special than you, and you are not more special than anyone else. We are all God's creation and necessary and needed, and it takes all of us. It doesn't mean that we need to be intricate puzzle pieces with every person that is created on purpose for a purpose. Right? That's not what that means. We don't need to be friends with everybody. That's not what it means to be called the love. You don't need to be friends with everybody. You don't need to be a doormat. You don't need to be everything to everybody. You don't need to serve everybody in your business. You have the right to define who your target audience is by whatever revelation God has given you. This is your people. This is who I want you to go serve. This is how I want you to serve them. That is what you follow, not what the world tells you you should do, not what the books say you should do, not what the gurus and the influencers and the big time, people that pack out 10,000 seat stadiums tell you to do. Those are lies. They're all shoulds. Shoulds are lies, right? I should be doing this. I should not be doing this. Can'ts are lies. No, it's I choose to or I choose not to, right? I don't have time is a lie. Check yourself, y'all. We all have 168 hours in the week.
Yeah.
You do have time. I have time. It depends on what you choose to prioritize with your time, and that's entirely up to you. But stop lying to yourself. Stop that, because it's not doing you any good. It's not about you being a good or a bad person. It's about you having that abundant life. And you can't have that abundant life if you're constantly believing lies, consuming lies. Because see, here's the other thing that happens when we believe lies. We look for things in reality in our lives to confirm them.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Yeah. So when we believe truth, we look for things to confirm that.
Yeah.
And that's what it means to have a thriving thought world.
Yeah. Where do you find, specifically, let's say successful women. So women who, like me in my journey, we've built a certain way and then we hit a wall. What are some of the lies that the women that you work with have allowed to creep in that have caused them to get stuck or hit a wall?
What do you mean by hit a wall? Can you give me some more insight into that?
So, where you're rolling along and business is great, and then suddenly you feel like it's not growing, or it's stagnant, or it started to fall back, and maybe some of that is God's pruning. But what are the lies that we allow to define what's happening in those?
I'm not good enough. I'm not good at this. I mean, those are the biggest ones. I'm not good enough. Why do I matter? I don't matter. I'm not smart enough. I'm not equipped. I'm not pretty enough. Look, in business, this is in society, this is in life. People who are wealthy and attractive are more likely to meet the world's definition of success. That's just how we work here in this world, right? And so for women, it's particularly challenging. I think that what we do is the lies that we believe, like if our business is stagnant or whatever, we can start to internalize it as something wrong with us.
Yes.
And not only wrong with our character and our personality, but then we translate that and it grows and it kind of melts out into our appearance, into our worth, into our value. What if it's not about you?
Right.
What if the stagnation and the roadblock is not about you? What if it's a benefit for you? What if it's a protection for you? So I think what we do, the lie that we embrace is, why is this happening to me? What do I need to do to get out of this? Maybe you don't need to do anything to get out of it. Maybe you need to walk right through it. Maybe you need to open your heart to it. Maybe you need to embrace it and say, okay, business is stagnant. All right, God, what do you have for me?
Yeah.
Not God, fix this, or I need to fix this, or I need to do something different, or I need to go and take this course. Be open. Like maybe it's not the path anymore. Maybe what used to work for you doesn't work for you. Here's the other thing. I think a lot of times in business, we look to other people for success stories to see what worked for them and how they did things. But listen, because you are a unique creation, what works for somebody else, you follow me?
Yeah.
Because you are a unique creation, you need a unique path. You need a unique approach. You need only that which God can give to you. So the only way that he can give that to you, the only way that he can reveal that to you is for you to be open to it, for you to be open to the pain. And I know that's uncomfortable. I know that is just, it probably puts a bad taste in your mouth. Like, I want nothing to do with pain and suffering, Sherri. Stop it, right? But let me tell you, soon, I promise you, if you start to adopt that different way of thinking, speaking that truth, maybe this is good for me. What do I need to learn here? What can I learn here, right? Not what's wrong with me. What am I doing wrong? Again, going back to the field of psychology, focusing on what's wrong. Why don't you focus on what's right? Focus on what's true. Focus on what's good. Focus on what's pure, right? I mean, anyway. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but
no, it does, because I think it helps the people who will be listening. It helps them understand that when you are at a place in business where it doesn't look like things are going the way you thought, or maybe you are stagnant, or maybe, something has gone wrong, that to sit with it a second, not dwell in it, not live in it, but sit for a second and say, okay, how do I stay open to this? How do I walk through this? How do I allow the lesson, whatever it is,
right,
to shift, to allow God to shift me and to take the lines of the box off.
Yeah.
Because
that's
I was
the lie.
that way,
is
and
that
now
there is
he
a box.
wants me to go this way.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah.
No, I think that's beautiful, and I think that's huge takeaway for us as we continue to build a God-centered business. That's the point. It's his. I was struggling around my book and the editing, and I keep coming back to, Lord, this is your book. Like, you gave me this. You gave me the journey to walk through, which resulted in the story, which resulted in the testimony. You gave me the words to put on paper. Ultimately, this is yours.
Yeah.
So walking through the challenges and the lessons in it not only helps me for the next book that I write, but it also helps me remind me that's his.
Yeah.
And we can't white knuckle our business. Our business is meant to be a ministry. There's a vehicle that he's given us to impact the world that's unique to us, as we talked about earlier. And therefore, we can't grip it. We have to come at it with open hands.
Well, and here's what I would say to that, Erin. We can grip it. We can white knuckle it, right? But that does not result in the life that God's promised for us.
No, 100%.
I mean, we're literally supposed to just be like I'm in the driver's seat of my car right now. I'm just supposed to be in the back chilling, playing with my, I don't know, my Game Boy or whatever they call the little things these days. I know that's old, Game Boy. But anyway, I'm just supposed to be in the back, taking in the scenery, looking around, having fun. When he says, oh, do you see that? Oh, yeah, love that. Yeah, but we get our big girl pants on and we want to be in the front seat and we want to, grab the wheel and we want to have this perfect picture and this perfect plan. And I think just being open to the fact that imperfection and destruction and chaos and wreckage are often the very picture of perfection, of God's perfect plan.
Oh, yes. Yes. Because all of that causes us to come back to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is the point.
That's the point. Yeah.
I love it. All right. I want to wrap this up and I want to ask you, you have dropped so many nuggets. I love it.
Oh, good.
I want to ask you, what are 3 words that describe your journey, Hustle with Heart? to this point?
3 words. See, you're asking a thinker.
I know.
To answer this on the
Because
spot.
I'm a thinker too.
The 3 words that come to mind are wreckage. Wreckage is one. Freedom is another one. And rest.
Rest. And rest, not resting, sitting on our laurels doing nothing, but rest. In your mind, what is rest?
Like it's all gonna be okay.
Yes.
like it's all gonna be just fine. And a little lie, contrary to popular, old wives' tales, God helps them who helps themselves. That's not in the Bible, people.
Right.
Yeah. This is not about how hard you work. It is about you aligning yourself to what God has for you and letting him work through you. Because when he tells you to do something, you'll go do it and it won't be work. So
I love it. Dr. Sherri, how can we find you now that we're closing this up? How can we find you? How can we tap into your wisdom and your resources?
Well, thank you so much, Erin. I'm just so grateful to be on your show. I love the work that you're doing, and so encouraging and so needed in our world today. So the main place that people can find me, it's like I call it my cyber home, is my Facebook, which is Dr. Sherri. And I guess you can share that in the links for people.
Yep.
You can find me there on Dr. Sherri. I do have a private group for women only called Thriving Thoughtcasters. You can find me in there too. You can request to join the group through my Dr. Sherri page. I am on the gram at Dr. Sherri Speaks. I think you have that as well. It's Dr. Sherri Speaks. I don't do a whole lot on LinkedIn. And then of course you can find my podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Overcast, on a number of different platforms, Thriving Thoughts with Dr. Sherri. Would love your 5-star rating if you can, please. I have a goal of 1,000 5-star ratings by March 1st. So I'm under the gun because I have like 20.
Get on it. Go listen and give it 5 stars.
Right. Just 5 stars. That's it. Like, just click. And then my email, people can reach out to me directly at, it's drsherrispeaks@gmail.com. So it's just DRSHERRISPEAKS@gmail.com. And those are the best ways to get in touch with me.
Awesome. Sherri, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being a guest.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So much wisdom. This is definitely for our listeners, one to listen to over and over and over again. So thank you guys so much. And I'll see you guys on our next Hustle with Heart podcast, everybody. Thanks, Sherri.
Bye.